What do you think helps get to that consistency if you're struggling, if someone's struggling with that?
It's such a great question. It's super chicken and egg. So I had a teacher a few years ago say that every time she got on her cushion, it was like as blissful as an orgasm. And I was like, really? You're doing something very different on your meditation cushion than I'm doing, right? But I know what she means now. And instead of, even if my mind is wandering, and even if in theory it doesn't seem like a good meditation session, I'm always so much happier when I've sat. And so at some point you give up the struggle. Like if it's not a quote unquote great meditation session, it just doesn't matter. You sat, you're going to reap a benefit. Something's going to come out of that. So you kind of have to get to the point where instead of you feel like you have to sit because somehow you've made a commitment to yourself, instead it's that you cannot wait to sit. And that shift in mindset it's just key.
So, what are some things that you could suggest to help someone get to that point? Because, like you said, it's chicken and the egg. So, if you're not enjoying your meditation, it might feel like a have to.
Yeah, well, one thing is that I think that people think that it's a solitary sport. And, we know on Mind Oasis, it's not. But I think that when we talk about it like that, it sounds like we're like, just come join our community because we want you to be a part of it, right? But I think what people have to understand is like, no, we really mean it. Like having a good guide, which you can get that through an app, to help guide you for the first couple of years, I think is really helpful. Left to our own devices, our mind is totally whack-a-noodle. And it'll come up with so many different bizarre ways to hijack you. It can be very discouraging. So I think like the solitary warrior in this sense is a terrible idea. Minimally allow someone to help guide you those first couple of years. The second thing I would say is that if you're serious and if you can taste the little benefits that you think might happen, and or you just believe in the people around you who are like, if you meditate, things will change, get a good teacher, get a really good teacher. And I used to be a little bit more like shamatha, shamatha, shamatha. But I've loosened up. I think that there are a lot of different ways to get your mind to settle enough to be present. But you want someone who's reputable and knows what they're doing. And then the third thing I would say is, I'm not kidding about the online group meditation, right? Or in person, if that's something that you can do these days. A couple of different things happen. One is you start to look forward to the community that you're going to sit with, and you can't get that on an app. Like on an app, even if it's a live session, you're looking at a teacher, right? But if you come like to community meditation, you're with a group of other people, you start to kind of get to know them. You might like a shirt they have on. You might notice a cat or a dog or a kid in the background. You find out that they live in the same town as your grandma. I mean, there's all of these little connections that can be made. And so you start to look forward to seeing those people, those faces, those smiles, right? Or sometimes not smiles. And then you're like, oh no, like what's wrong with Michelle or whatever. So there's that. And then the accountability that happens is pretty interesting. So like, let's say you schedule Wednesday mornings at 9 and you're like, I'm going to go to those community meditations, on Tuesday, you start thinking about it, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should sit for 20 minutes because I'm thinking about meditation anyway. And then you go and you have a good time and you're like, oh, wow, I like actually had a really good day. And the only thing that was different was meditation. I went to community meditation. So then Thursday comes around and you're like, maybe I should sit again. So what happens is you end up with sort of this upward spiral of accountability that I think is really key. So 1, don't go at it alone. 2, get a good teacher. I happen to be one. I like to say that I'm a better teacher than I am a meditator. And 3, take advantage of group meditation.